Hi everyone, welcome to the road trip. Today we're going to take a look at a pretty special car, a very rare car. It's a 1932 Hupmobile. This is a very low production car. It's very unique. And we have Steve with us. Steve is the owner.
How you doing?
Thank you, Steve, for showing us this car.
My pleasure.
How many years have you had this car?
I bought the car 1 year ago, October of last year at Hershey.
2023?
Yes. And it was not part of the auction. It was not part of the show field. As I was walking through the masses of vendors, there was a dealer who had this car in a tent. And I took one look at it and completely fell in love with it. I told the dealer that I'd think about it, and I walked off 2 rows away into a tent of memorabilia, and the first thing I saw was a vintage Hupmobile dealer sign. And I started thinking, somebody's trying to tell me something.
Yeah.
And as I walked out to go back, a guy walks by with a sandwich board of advertising on both sides, wanted Hupmobile parts. And my friend looked at me and he said, we can't make this up. There's got to be a reason. So we walked back to the tent. There's a guy standing there with a Hupmobile baseball cap. Turns out he was the president of the Hupmobile Club of America, and he heard about the car. And when he saw me talking to the owner, the dealer, he said, "Are you the guy looking to buy this?" I said, "Yes." And he says, "Well," he goes, "I've heard rumors of this car, but I've never seen it until now." He goes, "This is the real deal." So I ended up,
So
striking
you
the
didn't
deal.
actually seek this car out. It kind of
No,
found you.
it found me.
You just fell in love with it from the
Yeah,
very beginning?
yeah. I love Art Deco. And
Yeah,
this car just screams Art Deco.
it does.
Raymond Loewy designed it. It was his first design commission for automobiles, and this is what he came up with.
Just the design here on top of the grill
It's a
is Art Deco.
very unique emblem.
Is that the standard Hupmobile emblem?
That is correct.
And it even says Hupmobile under there,
Yeah,
red.
that I've not seen on any other car, any other Hupmobile. I've seen the hood ornament, but not that little feature. So that was,
Yeah.
again, another unique item.
Being that this car's so rare, low production, you think it's unique just to this line or this model?
Well,
You had mentioned to me they only made how many of these?
they made 6 of these. This was during the Great Depression. And so they only made 6. This is called the I-226 Sport Victoria.
Okay.
So 6 of them were produced. Of the 6, this is the only one that remains. This is it.
The only one left.
Yes. Now this car, actually, this exact car was put on display at the 1932 Chicago Auto Show. And I have a photo that came with the car of this vehicle on the back of a flatbed type trailer being unloaded.
Yeah.
And somebody saw the car at that show, bought it, kept that car until 1969. They sold it. Actually, that person passed. Their family sold it to someone that they knew who owned it from 1969 until the mid 1980s when that owner passed away, and it went to his son-in-law. The son-in-law is the one who restored it.
So you have the history.
Yeah, everything but the name of the first owner. We're still trying to, we don't know who owned it.
Yeah.
We're going through old insurance records and motor vehicle records to try to find it. But when that person passed away about 3 years ago, the family consigned it to a dealer, and that's the one I bought it from. So technically, I was the first person to buy this car as a publicly offered vehicle.
I can see this is a two-tone green. It's a beautiful shade of like an apple green and a light green.
Lighter green, yes.
Is this similar to the color it was made in? Do we know originally?
The car was the darker green. Okay. And I think it was even a little darker than this darker of the two-tone.
Okay.
And when the gentleman restored the vehicle, and again, there's photos of it coming out of a garage for the first time in 20 years, okay, where you can see the paint missing and a little bit of rust on the fenders. It looks like it was a darker green, so they chose to restore it in this very nice two-tone color.
It is a beautiful shade. Both shades are pretty, and they go very well together.
They really do.
Let me step over here. Maybe we can open up the driver's door.
Sure. It has the suicide doors.
Yeah. Look at this door panel. How much of this is original, do you know, and how much you think has been repaired?
So what has been replaced would be the driver and passenger door panels.
Okay.
They were replaced to back to original. The carpeting has been replaced, but the seats, the dashboard, the headliner, the back seat, the back door panels, and the rear window surround are all original, right down to the straps, and it has shades on the two rear windows and the back window. All of that is completely original to the car.
Wow.
It's amazing that it survived like that since 1932.
Yeah, it had to be in a very, very good climate.
Right.
You can see some patina, a little bit of aging, but it's still, shows very nice. It still represents itself beautifully. And these shades on the three windows here, they're original. Was that an option, or did all Hupmobiles come with that?
I don't know that I don't believe all Hupmobiles came with it, and I'm not 100% sure if it was a factory option or it was added, but I understand that they had been there. The gentleman who had the car from 1969 indicated in notes that the shades were there when he bought it. So I have to believe that they go back perhaps to when the car was brand new or shortly thereafter.
Can I sit on this seat? I just want to point something out. You had mentioned it to me. You mentioned to me earlier about these window cranks. You can see it has back windows that go up and down, but I did not notice the cranks here. They're just a bar that you twist like a screw.
Exactly. And I have to admit, I didn't pay attention to them until recently, and I was like, what is this? And I started turning it and the window went down. So I went, okay, that's what that is.
I'd never seen that before. I would have expected a typical hand crank that you grab the ball on the end and you spin it.
And that's exactly what I would have thought.
But this is like a screw.
Yes.
A big screw. And these straps are original, right?
Yes, you can see the wear and tear from all the years.
Yeah.
I would imagine that in order for them to have replaced the front door panels, that they were probably, pretty far gone, and that's why they replaced it back to original. I would have loved to have had the original panels, but that did not come with the car.
What are we looking at here? It has a very, very nice set of gauges, and I can see on the right here you got a pair in one pod or in one gauge. Yeah,
it's rather interesting. To start the car, you turn the key and part of the ignition pops out towards you. Okay. There's a lever that you pull out for spark, and then you pull the starter switch, you pull it out towards you, and that is what actually turns the ignition of the car. So it's a bit of a procedure.
Okay. And I see you have the driving lights, or the spotlights, I should say.
Yes.
They were added, or did that come with the car?
They were added because in the photo from the 80s when the car was pulled out of the garage, those lights were not on the car. So there's no doubt that that was added.
Okay. Well, they look period correct. What is all this here? And on the other side, is that what you were talking about, the starting?
Well, you talking about this item right here?
Yeah, that mechanism there.
This is actually a radio head. It's those are radio stations you're looking at. Although I do not know that there are speakers in the car. I believe that was a 1932 Hupmobile option that they found during restoration and added.
Okay. And what is that thing right there sticking out under the dash with that knob?
That is a heater switch.
And is that the heater?
Yes.
In the background?
That is the heater in the background, and the other, the emergency brake is what you see here coming up out of the floor.
Okay.
And it is a 3-speed transmission.
Wow. Very nice. It's amazing that it survived this well all these years.
Yeah, one of the features, if you'll notice on the other side of the windshield, there are chrome handles. You can release those handles and the windshield will tilt out. I generally don't do that because I don't want to mess with the seal. Yeah. But that was a feature that the car had.
How about that? And I see you have a clock up here and a badge of some sort?
Yes. Now the clock, I would imagine that's a period item that the restorer, the owner at the time, put in the car. I can't imagine that came with the car originally, but that's one of those things that I don't know for certain, so I don't want to make a statement that might be incorrect.
And what is the badge?
That was something that somebody put up there back in the day when there were particular types of gas that were recommended for use of the car. So that was what was ethyl. Yeah, ethyl gas. They put that up there.
I can see you added some pillows and a little blanket, which looks really nice.
Well, those actually were in the car when it came, and I thought it looked, rather nice, so I just left them there. And one of the things I found interesting is if a passenger wants to get in the back seat from the passenger side, the seat back tilts forward, but the driver's seat, the whole thing
Oh,
goes
okay.
forward like that, which is a bit unusual, but that's how it was back then with this car, I
And on the
guess.
passenger, the bottom stays
The bottom
stationary?
stays stationary and the top tilts forward, just like a more modern
More
type car.
modern, yeah. That's different.
Yep.
And I see an H on these floor mats. Are these original or correct Hupmobile
Well,
floor
these
mats?
are actually floor mats that I found that were authorized by the Hupmobile Club for Hupmobile. So I was very happy to find those and
Yeah.
put them in because, again, we talked about the interior. The carpeting absolutely appears to have been redone as opposed to being original. So I just want to make sure that as I'm driving it on those rare occasions, I don't, foul up the carpeting. So hence the floor mats.
Yeah, look at that logo, that Hupmobile logo there.
Yeah,
So
they weren't shy about putting their logo on different parts
yeah,
of
well,
the
it's a
car.
special car.
Yeah.
Why don't we close it up? And you had mentioned to me about these running boards. What's the scoop on this bar here?
So yeah, this is a guard that was an extremely rare option that you could get for the car. I've seen other Hupmobiles, of course not one like this, but I've never seen another car that has these guards. So it was just one of those things that it's decorative,
Yeah.
but it's functional. It actually protects the outside of the running
Yeah.
board and the chrome strip there.
I've never seen it on another vehicle, but it almost seems like common sense, like it's an
Yeah.
obvious thing you would have for it.
Again, that was just an option that was offered by Hupmobile back in the day.
And you've got the dual side mounts with the
Yep.
covers for the tires.
Exactly.
Very sharp. You can see that wheel cover there. It's pretty plain, but it has a little bit of a design to it.
Yeah, that was the part of Hupmobile.
Got a lot of lights up front. Turn signals.
Yep.
Driving lights, which I can see turn with the wheels.
Exactly. Yeah, and by the way, for people that aren't familiar with Hupmobiles, Charles Hupp started the company, started making cars in 1909, made them until 1940, and that was their last hurrah.
I guess these lights, as big as they are, they really don't cast a lot of light, do they?
No.
I like the body colored grille. Do they turn?
No, they
with
do not.
the,
No, that is fixed. So
It's
it's a fixed grille. I know when we were doing some restoration, we pulled the radiator and had it flushed out and redone. You see the Hupmobile emblem logo down at the bottom.
Yeah, there it is, right in the middle there. See that? We're going to take a look at that emblem in the back as well. I see you've got the twin horns.
Yep.
Does it have a unique sound?
It actually, when I beep the horn, it plays "How Dry I Am," recognizing that from back in 1932. I don't remember exactly when Prohibition ended, so it was either over by then or had just ended. But that's the horn. I didn't know that until I took it through inspection. They said hit the horn, and I did, and it beeped out "How Dry I Am." I had to suppress a laugh.
Does it work? Can we listen to it?
Yeah.
Let's listen to that.
Let's see. I have to connect the battery again.
Oh, I'm sorry to make you do that.
That's
but
okay.
If you're going to tell me that, we have to hear it. And if it works, we definitely have to hear it. Love the color of this car. I said it before, but it's really a unique color.
Yeah, it's
color.
yeah. I've not seen another car quite this color before. So let's see what we have here with this horn. So you can imagine my surprise at motor vehicle when I pushed the button and that came out.
Well, we know it's you.
Absolutely.
We definitely know when Steve's arrived. Wow. And I see they carried the design from the bumper. The Art Deco look.
Yep, right
straight
to the
up
front.
to the top of the grill.
And I believe it's on the rear bumper as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Can we look at the passenger side since we're over here? Can you open the door?
Sure.
Take a better look at the inside. And you've got a 32 Pennsylvania road map. Look at that.
Yeah, when I buy a car, I always try to find the corresponding roadmap for the year of the car.
That's pretty neat. You better look at these instruments on this side.
Yeah,
Very
back then they called it airplane design because they were, they were trying to come up with that streamline type look, and that's what they called it.
And this round thing, as you said, was for the radio
Yes.
on the side of the column.
Mhm.
What an unusual place to put it.
Exactly.
It's different. Okay. Why don't we? Can we look at the trunk?
Sure.
And then we'll go around the front. You have a trunk rack, which is really nice. Do you have a trunk, or do you have intentions of ever getting a trunk?
I don't have a trunk, and I'm not sure if I would get one because I don't know that I would like the look of it laying flat and elongating it past the bumper. So
Yeah.
I don't have one. Matter of fact, when I bought the car, the trunk was not finished. It was just rough metal. So we finished it off, found what the material would be like for this car, and finished that off.
Yeah, it looks very right.
And I happened to look out and found a towel that matched the car and a little carrying bag that matches everything.
You had to buy that bag, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw it online. I said, I think that's the right color, and it turned out to be.
It turned out to be an exact match. Look at that, it matches the paint perfectly. And you keep all your waxes and rags and stuff in there?
Yeah, I keep documentation and anything that goes with the car goes in there.
You've got the gas cap there.
Yep.
You've got tail lights on both sides.
Mm-hmm. And blinkers were added, so they're added in those.
Are they in the lens?
They're in the lenses.
Okay.
Yes.
And I like, back to the paint again, I noticed you have a dark green two-tone.
Yep. So it's
going around the body lines.
Yeah. So you have the two-tone up here and the green in the middle coming over the trunk.
Look at that. Very nice.
I don't know if the person who owned it suggested that split and those breaks of colors and the pinstriping, or if that would have been the shop that they used, but it came out really nice.
Yeah, somebody made a good call on that one. Can we look at the engine?
Sure.
Now this always scares me a little bit when these piano hinged hoods get open.
I'm always
look at that way. Look at the cutout
careful.
right here. How it's cut out around that design. You got to know what you're doing.
Yep. So I'm always just very.
Is there a hook there that it catches?
Yeah, it does.
Or a rod?
Right there.
Okay.
Sits right on there.
What are we looking at here?
It is a 279.9 cubic inch straight 8. It was the largest engine built for Hupmobile in that year, and it was particular for this model.
So is this a upgrade?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
A 6, I guess, would have been standard?
Yes. So on the I-226, you had the 8. You had, like I said, there were 6 of these built. There's also, there was a coupe version where it's just a two-passenger car. There are 2 of those known to exist. I know where both of them are, and one of them's coming up for sale.
Is that a leather belt I'm looking at?
Yes.
Wow. Beautiful.
And no, I did not get the wires to match the car. It just happened to be that way. I'm guessing the Restore, come to think of it, probably did that.
Well, I don't know how common that color combination is, but it matches perfectly. The same colors as the car.
I didn't pay attention to it until I recently opened the hood and I was cleaning and I looked at that and I said, oh, look, the wires match.
Air filter right there?
Yes, right here.
And the ducts right into the carburetor, I guess?
Exactly.
Very nice and tidy looking engine bay. Looks like everything's been addressed nicely.
Yeah, I had the guy who does the restoration work for me, we had it in his shop because there were some spots from people over the years opening and closing the hood. They had chipped it, and I wanted to get that cleaned up. So we took this all off, and I got a phone call, and he says, well, now that we're here, you want us to do the engine and engine compartment? I said, might as well.
Might as well.
We're here, so might as well do it.
In for an ounce, in for a pound.
Exactly.
Vents, they open up manually?
The vents do.
Each one individually?
Each one individually opens up. So
well, why don't you close that up?
Yeah.
I don't want to. It's a little breezy here. I'm a little nervous about it. So there were only 6 of this model produced. This is the only one remaining?
Yep, only 6 were made. This is literally acknowledged as the only one. There's no other ones. This is it.
Can we look at the picture? You had
Oh,
said you had
yes.
some literature, some
Yeah, let me
backstory
get
on
that.
this, which is pretty interesting and unique.
So what I've got is a photo of this exact car being unloaded in front of the 1932 Chicago Auto Show. And it was at this show, which was where this car was displayed and where the first owner bought it. And the car stayed in the Midwest until that person died in 1969. And then I found some additional photos. I have them right here. This says 1932 Hupmobile 226 two-door Victoria, taken in 1993. Coming out of the garage is found first time it had been out in over 20 years. So these are some photos of the car.
There you go. I'm going to keep it like this,
like
that to keep the glare down.
Yeah, you can see that it's a darker green, and you can tell the extent of the work that would have been done in restoring this particular car.
And that's the barn it was found in?
Yeah, that is the garage where the thing had been kept.
That's the day it rolled out after
day it rolled
20
after
some
20,
years?
20 plus years.
Keep it like this.
And, you know, the car did not have the spotlights. There were additional lights added. You know, you can see that it has those guards running down the side.
Yeah, you can see the guards on the side of the
They had been re-chromed. Obviously, everything had to be re-chromed and redone. Hood ornament was missing. There was no luggage rack on the back. So there was extensive work done to this car from the previous owner.
Beautiful. It's nice to have that.
Yeah. So I mean, I
gotta stay with the car.
I had a lot of things re-chromed. I re-chromed a bunch, and then when it got done, it's like working on a house. You fix something, and then what's next to it doesn't look quite as good. So I didn't have every single thing re-chromed, and then when I looked at what it looked like, we got to take this. So we took the entire grill assembly off the car, and that's when we did the radiator and did the engine and repainted more. And I still have more work to do. After the driving season's over, it's going back into the shop where it'll spend the entire winter having additional things done to it.
What are your plans with it besides just enjoy it for yourself? You're going to try to show it, maybe bring it to some of the bigger national events like Pebble or Amelia?
Well, I was invited to a show, you know, recently, and the car was very, very well received. And from that, I got invitations for a couple of other Concours d'Elegance shows. So I think when it's done, I may take a shot at bringing it to some of the, you know, the bigger shows. I'm even thinking, as we had discussed recently or briefly, of maybe something like Pebble Beach to see if they'd have interest. Since most people have never seen this car, I think it would be well received. So
only one left. You're not going to see another one.
That's what I'm thinking of doing with it.
Well, you and I met, what would you say, over a year ago?
Yes.
We've known of each other. I've known of your collection. We've been in touch occasionally. And today was the first time I've actually had a chance to come out and see some of your stuff. So I want to thank you, Steve, very much for inviting us to your collection.
My pleasure. I'm glad you could make it.
And taking a look at this Hupmobile.
Thank you.
So, folks, tell me what you think. 32 Hupmobile. One of 6 produced, the only one left. Leave your comments below. Definitely subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.